Erev Shabbos Kodesh Parshas Vayigash. And when we read these parshios that teach us about the life of Joseph, the life of Yosef, and it begins with Yosef being born into a family that actually hated him. And he went from that very, very unpleasant atmosphere to being thrown into a pit. And from that pit, he went into the worst kinds of caravans that he was taken across lands, and he was taken from caravan to caravan, from bad to worse, until he ended up in Egypt. And in Egypt, he ended up in the pits of Egypt, literally, in a jail in Egypt, which was in a pit. So Yosef had a great fall. And then Yosef had a great rise. They pulled him out of that pit, and they brought him in front of the Pharaoh, and there he went up and up and up until he became the viceroy of the greatest superpower on earth of Egypt. And then went even higher to be reunited with his brothers. The fall and the rise of Yosef. What was the turning point? Exactly at which moment did Yosef's life stop going down and start going up? And if you examine the text, it all comes from one verse. Yosef was in jail. He looked around at his fellow cellmates. He saw that they were upset, and he said to them, Lama madua pneichem roim hayom. Why do you look upset? And of course, they went on to tell him about the terrible dreams that they had. Why do you look upset? Yosef, after having endured so much, would have been justified in being totally self-absorbed, totally thoughtful about his own problems, and not be worrying about the problems of his cellmates. Nevertheless, he extended out of himself. He looked around at people that he hardly knew, and he said to them, you look upset. Can I help you? And from the moment that he extended out of his own personal trouble, out of his pain, out of his grief, his life turned around and he went up, up, up until he became a king and until he became united with his brothers, and the Jewish people became one, and history went on. For us, so often we get absorbed into our life, we wallow in our problems, and we wonder, how are we ever going to get out of this? And sometimes the answer is to look at your fellow man. Look at another person and say to that person, hey, how come you're upset? What can I do to help you? And by getting out of ourselves and extending from ourselves from the pain that we're in, God smiles on you and your life turns around and it goes up, up, up to the greatest heights. Shabbat Shalom u'Mevarach.